What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Anna, Andy. We got Andy. Good morning to Ann, Bill, Brian, David. Emily's in the house. Good morning to Frank, Jay, JT, Justin, Keith. Good morning to Lauren, Lou. We got Lucian, Rob, Sohail. Good morning to Tim, Wendy, all my people out in YouTube land. We got Leonard. We got Clarice. We got all my lurkers in the background. They're just not going to say anything or comment. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. But big week. We got a big week. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Better than like the Monday open for the market. I hope so. Hope you guys are doing good. But yeah, Spy, we're leaking a little bit. We got PPI numbers tomorrow. We got CPI on Wednesday. So two big numbers. Inflation, one of the biggest concerns in the market right now, especially coming into a new administration and things get shaken up a little bit, and then you get all the tariff talk and how that would increase it. We've seen Jerome Powell come out getting a little negative on how many rate cuts that he wants to take. So the story right now is inflation, and we're getting the two direct numbers that would tell us essentially where we're at for now. Again, longer term doesn't matter. I don't know, but there is still some fear of unknown for the January 20th when we get some policy changes and things like that as to how it would go. It does look like the market's a little bit uneasy, but today, so Friday we had a obviously a down day, pretty decent breakdown on the overall markets. Let me just see where my there we go. I get those V-Box back. But not a great close below the last bullish stance in the market. So we did kind of come up into well, we closed below the candle from December 20th. That was the Bulls' last kind of stance on this one. We closed at the 100, so the Bulls we dipped below it on Friday. We kind of came back a little bit, managed to stay right above it, holding a decent, okay support zone. And right now we are gapping down. Uh, Retest gap on the day. I'm looking for some kind of support. I don't know how strong this one's going to be, but I got 575.53, and then I think we're starting to target these lower numbers, maybe down to like 570 for right now. We'll see if we continue that momentum and trend down. We have the 200 sitting all the way at 557 roughly. So if we come into the 200, it's still quite the ways away for the downside move. So I'm just watching where all of this is headed. But I was going through the list of stocks early today, and there was a it was a heck of a lot more names that looked a little bit more to the bear side than to the bullish side at this point, with what looks to be a lot more room to run down on a lot of individual names. So we'll see. We got the Qs. Again, retest gap for today. At least we still got the 100 to kind of hold us up on the Qs. We'll see if any of that works. Otherwise, we got the $500 psychological number. We also got decent support resistance right around $500.07. So a little bit of support right below us for today. It is a retest gap, and it will be interesting to see how we how we close today. Might actually set us up if the PPI comes in light tomorrow, if CPI comes in light on Wednesday, if we start taking off some of the worries that inflation is as big of a deal, and maybe it's just more mellow than we thought, and we're not really looking at a another inflation spike in the near future. This dip, it would be setting us up pretty decent for a good gap up on Tuesday, continuation or good gap on Wednesday. But if those numbers come in hot, uh, all of the any last bulls that are kind of hanging in here, I think we start to look to sell off and come down deeper. So it will be interesting to see if we get a good red candle today. Um, I think tomorrow it could be set up if it's still all going to depend on a number. So you're still taking a stab at it. You're still taking a bet that you're saying maybe inflation didn't really spike as much. That being said, I know oil's been going up, gas has been going up. Um, I think food pricing is still a concern. I don't know if that's come down or if that's kind of continued the trend upwards a little bit. So inflation is still a little bit sticky, but you have um, some of the numbers that do affect inflation starting to kind of rise a little bit as well. So I don't know if that's going to help, but we'll see how that looks, and maybe that's why there's a little extra fear knowing that some of those numbers might spike the inflation numbers a little bit more too. But we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow and Wednesday is going to be very, very telling, and then we're right back in the earnings season. Otherwise, Qs, we'll see if this could hold. Otherwise, you got resistance on Qs up to like we'll call it 505, but I got 504.98, and then a full on retest takes us into 507.98. I'll be patient and open on SPY Qs. Nothing really crazy. The one thing I would take a look at still, TLT. That one is pre-market at least. Okay, we're maybe not 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes ago. It was a couple pennies lower, right at or below that little support from Friday. But for right now, you are getting a little bullish gap, so maybe we get some longer term bond people saying it's going to be okay. We'll see, but you're still definitely trending down, and we haven't had any real change in sentiment in bonds yet. Yep, we got some tickers coming in. If you guys got some tickers, let me know. Andy says, "So random moon phase video from Jeremy. Today is a new full moon. We'll see how that indicator works." Yeah, that's a Jeremy indicator. I know some other people use it too, and they like it. I don't know. I I don't know what to do with the moon. I I am the opposite of that. What's that Netflix movie? It was like Don't Look Up or something. That's essentially me. Yeah, if you guys don't remind me that we have a moon, I wouldn't even know. Like that's how ignorant to the moon I am. But it does in a weird way. When Jeremy goes through it, he's like, "Yeah, okay, it works." I know. I think Emily watches it a lot too. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't get it. But yep, new moon to full moon sell off, bottom bottom in on full moon. So what kind of moon do we have? What is the moon that's coming out? We have a new full moon. Uh-oh, sell off. That's a sell off then? You guys are telling me short everything based on solely the moon? I like it. I like it. Why flip a coin when you can look at the moon? But in a weird way, it kind of does line up. I don't know. CVX, again, oil is bouncing a little bit. So we've had some Oxy, same thing. Oxy's been kind of rallying higher. CVX looks decent. Still inside candle. Watch the highs. We do have one little support or resistance. That's right around 154.10. Looks like pre-market we're about 7 cents over it, but we're still inside that candle to the high end. I'd see if we could. I don't know if I'd want to go long here, especially breakout plays in this type of market on most things downtrending. Again, this is oil sector, a little bit different. Energy sector looks like it's gaining a little bit of momentum. But at the highs inside day, I'd see if this one could pull back a little bit before getting triggered in. Real spot for me, somewhere around 152.80. Not sure if we get there. Might only be a small pullback. Maybe we only get to like 153.45. But it does look good. We've had some decent momentum, good volume on this lower candle from the 20th. And then since then, we've just been trading higher. I think we're probably in some kind of wave three at this point. Bigger targets on this one would take me to about 156.41. You're going to be met with some resistance ahead of that, 154.82 and then 155. But if you're in it already, it looks good. For a day trade, maybe if it's got I don't know. Some of these days are very small on ranges. I just don't want to get caught in that one. So if it pulls back a little bit, I would start looking at that one for bullish. Lulu had they put out their guidance, which was pretty good. I think we've actually rallied pre-market pretty decent. The high point was 423.51, and since that we've given back $20. So good move on the guidance. I am in it for the long term. I think my average price is somewhere around, I don't know, 260 or something. So I'm still holding. But yeah, at least you got a stock with some positive news today, which is fantastic. Other than that, the real spot for resistance, and we've gotten through this once. We could get through it again, but this is going to be 407.15. You do have 2 days of buying off of a pretty good support. There might be some people already profitable in this. However, that might have been. I mean, this is 4 in the morning. You guys are waking up this early? Technically, this is. I guess we hit the high point at 6:50, so we're almost 7 o'clock. So all right, some of you guys might have caught that one at the highs, but this might be already us kind of coming in for this retest. You have your 200 at least on a 3-minute chart. That's around 398.30. If we draw a fib on this one, let's do this one. See where we're at now on this. See if we can get a secondary push bullish. Uh, 618. You're sitting right at the 618. We've dipped through it a couple times. We'll get this one higher. We'll see if there's a trade that we could take on this. I they have good news. That's a big sell-off. That's my only concern. None of that really held immediately, but there is also 2 days of buying in there too. Longer term, I think we still break out. I think we still go higher. I'm just curious if maybe we pull back a little bit more into these back into this 395.66. I think would be your next spot, but then you've given up your entire move. So right around here is your 618. This might be an interesting spot to look bullish for a trade, but I'd have to see some kind of decent candles in there. I missed one more ticker that you said. Which one was it? Oh, two more. UNH. UNH. Uh, oh, we got Tokyo in the house. Good morning to you, or good night, or I'm not sure what time you have there. Huh. We got UNH. Friday was a little bit of a retest gap. Bulls tried it once. We're at the high end of the candle. You still have the resistance, which we did not hit, 536.49. If we could break through that, you have a lot of room, even into the almost the next moving average. The 50 takes us to 543.92. You got your 200 will probably definitely hold us up for today. Otherwise, you have room up to almost 560 on this one. Again, I would love to see a pullback. I'm not sure where I want this pullback to come into though. I don't want it to. I will tell you, I don't want to see it down at 519.59. If it gets all the way back for a full retest, I would just take the pass for today. Maybe a good support if there's a pullback 523.17. I think that gives us phenomenal risk to reward. I don't know if that gets there. Um, bullish. This is even though it's a red candle, there's still bullish momentum. Still gap up, retrace. I'd want to see a pullback in this thing. I don't have a play. The main thing is I just don't have a spot to put a stop. I can't put it. I can't really throw a stop at 518. It's a $37 move. I would need like a $50 move today for a 1.2. I'd have to let this one retrace a little bit. It is perking up though. I think it is one to keep on the list. X X another retest gap. So out of all the bearishness in the market, you found some bulls. Jim Cramer does say there's a bull market somewhere. X is looking decent too. I like the spot of open. Maybe you get a small retest on this one. Maybe this one's not as big, but maybe you could get a. I'd watch to see. I'm not going to throw an order out here, but watch to see what happens at 35.45. See if you get a little decent candle, a good look to it. If you start to break that, I'd be patient. See if you get a deeper pullback into like this 34.71 zone. But watch what happens there to the higher side. There's nothing really holding you back. And this is the 200 at 37.04, and then I'd be looking for extended targets at 37.29. So it does look like it has some room. A pullback would be fantastic though. Maybe I'd go high wave candle on this one. High wave at open if it looks like it's gonna hold. We will see. AVGO. This is one of the stocks that it not doing much recently, but there's this wide open gap in here. We're still kind of hanging into some key levels. The main level that I want to look at, and we're still above it. 218.10. This is a retest gap. I am going to put this one higher on my list because this is a decent size range. If we could get a pullback, tiny, maybe $1 more from here, I'm looking for like 218.10. That would be my. I think that's the last stance for the Bulls to try. They do have one more or one or two actually. So 213.89 would just be the opening of that candle, and then you got the low 211. We'll call it two more spots where the Bulls could kind of come in and save this one. But you are making lower highs, and if we could get past that last spot, I think you're more likely, I don't know about coming down for a full-on retest, but at least somewhere halfway through this, and then if it's going to bounce, it bounces, maybe off a moving average. But really, really good gap, and they're trying to hang in. We shall see. We shall see. mRNA, yeah, they had their guidance wasn't great. They're getting clobbered today. They kind of revised some of their numbers, but again, for a company that sells COVID shots, they're a little off season right now. But yeah, they're getting clobbered. This is again, it is technically a retest gap. You did have a bearish engulfing candle. There's been people short in this thing for quite some time. I mean, just absolutely getting murdered from 160, almost 170, all the way back down to 42. Looked like it was trying to perk up a little bit. I think we probably have some newly trapped bulls in this one. This day alone was like 11, 12% day. And then the next day we gave it all back. Are those guys really freaking out yet? Probably not. A little bit sad, but they're going to freak out today. So we'll see. This will be a challenging one. I do think probably mRNA drops longer term. I'm curious to see. This kind of reminds me of Adobe a little bit, where Adobe also had a gap looking kind of similar. You had some bull step in. They tried it. And then you got this, you woke up to this gap the next day. So again, retest gap the day before, didn't do much. The next few coming days, you got that further sell-off. I think mRNA kind of looks something like that, but we'll watch mRNA for today. Uh, I don't know if I really want to go aggressively bearish at all-time lows. I guess this is all-time lows. Maybe in the past it was. Yeah, in the past it was lower, all the way down to like $12. So that still gives us a $20 drop if we're gonna hit that. But they got to figure out more products. They need more products besides the flu shot, but they need some more revenue, or unfortunately, they're gonna need COVID to come back, and then they could ramp up some sales. We'll get this one on the list, but a little bit to the lower side. But yeah, not bad. I think that's a devastating gap for any bulls that were trying since I would say really since November 21st, but even especially since December 19th. Just everybody was looking good, and this looks horrific. Not a pleasant gap if you're in that thing bullish. Down, I think, roughly 20% today. Palantir, this one does look like it's starting to get that decent pullback. Probably has some more room to go. The next big spot I'd be looking for is targets down to 61.52. Even though this is a green candle, this is still a little bit of a retest. I would not be shocked at all if we have a little support here, which we do, somewhere around 64.06. I think this one probably gets bid up at open. I don't know to what extent though, but I think there's a little bit of retest. A lot of retest gaps today. I think there is a lot of retest. Um, but I wouldn't be shocked if this one gets bid up, and then I think you do see probably a bigger pullback. But watch that 61, 61.40-ish zone. That starts to break. I think you see bigger pullbacks into like even 54s. I think eventually you see a pullback in like 51.14 would be decent. And you still have a wide open gap all the way down to 41. So decent amount of space on this one. Market's not saying we're really bullish on much at the moment, except for the first three that we found. Somehow they were all bullish. But everything else outside of oil, I guess, is looking a little rough. But yeah, watch this one. I don't think this is a strong gap and go because this one technically is a lower price than where we closed the day before. So technically, even though it's green, it is a little bit bearish. The one thing that might give this a little bit more momentum is you are below that 50 EMA, but I still think you get some kind of a bounce, and then maybe later in the day you'd be looking for that short on Palantir. So if I get this one up a little bit higher. That there might be a little later day play. TSM inside day from yesterday. We've had a few days of selling. You are opening into some kind of support. I would uh I would watch this $200 level like a hawk. Start to break down there, I'd be a little concerned. Otherwise, I think your bounce spot, your target to the higher side is probably about 203.63. Again, do you have to play it bullish? No. Um, but that would be your first spot if it can really coming for a retest, I'd be looking for somewhere around 207. So decent amount of room to the higher side. You do have a little level of support. I like the risk to reward on this one. I don't really see too much in terms of an amazing candle that I want to play quite yet, but TSM does have, and they've been talking about, well, this is Taiwan, but I know China's been talking about stimulus, and we're just kind of waiting to see how much stimulus China's getting and how they divvy it up. But there is some China stimulus, I think, on the way. But Taiwan Semiconductor, just with tech in general, probably pulling back. Um, what's candle volume? We're just kind of chilling. I think this is a retest. At least worst case, I do like my risk reward to a bull direction. Shop has room to the downside. I was watching Shop today too. Yeah, Shop was plenty of room, wide open gap, still inside. Again, I don't think this looks extremely bullish. So I don't want it to come across like, hey, I'm massive bull on Shopify. It does look like we probably have some room to the downside. The one thing I would caution on is you're still inside Friday's candle. You're at the very lows of it. You still have your VPOC at 102.47. So you might have $2.30 for a retest with a really good risk reward. If we cannot break down Friday's candle, I would have some kind of stop there and look for some kind of candle to actually play this as a retest today. But that being said, I do agree it looks pretty bad. I think we have room down to $90, plenty of room on it. I just want to see what kind of candle this one gives me at open. This would be another high wave candle too. This would be counter trend, maybe go for like a 1.2. But depending on how we set that up, I'd want to see if we get that retest first. If we do break down here, I'd see then also if you get some kind of, so we'll break down. It'd be a quick flush. You probably get some rotation to the high of the day, and then we could also play that then to the bearish side a little bit later. All right, let's see. We got SPY, SPXU, Ultra Pro Short. Yeah, so this would be bullish if the rest of the market's coming down. This would be an aggressive way to short the SPY. But yeah, right now looks good. Also, same thing. This is a retest gap too. I don't know if buying it at an open makes the most sense unless we just get some candles on the SPY that flush. Otherwise, you're looking for probably about 23, 26. You got some moving averages on this one, but this will coincide with the SPY, and it just does it a lot quicker. So we'll see if you've built a little base in there. You have some good support. I would say roughly around 21.77, but this one might be one to consider for. Let me just add this one to my list for long-term stuff. But yeah, this would be a great way to play it. Also, I don't know. Lucian, I think, made a comment in Slack, something where they don't let you short. It's still not going to be individual names, but unless you're using options, if you do think or even if you want to hedge those numbers tomorrow for PPI and CPI, this could be a good way to do it. So instead of having to short, or if you're in Robinhood where you don't have the ability to take out shorts, you could go into something like this. This is not a long-term investment type utility, anything that is especially leveraged. You don't really want to be holding for long-term stuff, but for trading, it works great. So if you're buying a little bit of like SPXU just in case tomorrow comes in hot, and the entire market crushes, this will move relatively higher, and you kind of hedge some of your positions with that as well. SQQQ is the same thing, where you could kind of do the same thing with the Qs. We got eBay, and I see some more tickers. We got a lot of tickers coming in today. A lot is moving. eBay, this one's, I would say this is kind of in no man's land, a little bit of a retest gap. I'm not sure if we retest fully into Friday's VPOC, that would come in somewhere around 66, 67. But I do think probably somewhere in the vicinity of 66.25 would be a good spot for retest. Not that much room to the higher side, so I wouldn't play this one long. I would see if this one can get some kind of a bounce, and then your targets, I think, are down to like 63, 66 on this one. So this one I'd have to wait for a bounce. I can't really play the fade on that one. For eBay, let me just see. I also got AMD. Leonard says AMD is dropping. Level around 111. I actually have it if it does. Again, I think today is a little bit of a retest gap. Look for, and you still have a good risk to reward if this candle doesn't break. That is not a great candle that you want to see if you're a bull on AMD. I think it comes down lower, which would be fantastic. Just keep on crushing lower. We got earnings coming in on this one. And I'm just selling puts on this thing. I don't care if I get filled. I don't even care if this is a horrible earnings and whatever the case, but you're starting to get down to some really interesting price, and now you're jumping on this thing already. But we were right at the lows of the day. Watch for 116. If you could break 116, maybe got a bigger retest, and this thing kind of fades. But I think it all depends a lot on tomorrow's numbers, Wednesday's numbers. For this one, it does look weak right now. But keep it down here until earnings would be a fantastic setup for actually probably a long to kind of flip the positions. But we'll see what happens on this one. Otherwise, I actually have somewhere close to about 107, 108, somewhere in that zone would be I think a really good spot longer term for some numbers to come down, but not bad. Not bad. Keep on coming lower. I'm good with that. Let's see. Meta. Take a look at that one. What do we got? 2 minutes left. Meta has a little bit of a gap down, just inside candle today. I think there's better opportunities for day trade at open. They're watch them for the TikTok ban. So they're supposed to be banning TikTok apparently. If that goes through, I think Google will be a winner. I think Meta will be a winner. So you might get some continued bullish momentum on just running into whenever that decision is. I'm not sure if it's this week, but that would be the big catalyst for Meta and for even Google is if TikTok does get banned. SLRX. Pharmaceutical company, $1.57. Is this one getting a pretty major move? It is. Yep. So 444. Big resistance on this one up to 480. Not quite sure what the news is, but it is pharmaceutical. It's up a lot already. Biotechs are just tricky. Oof, you're starting to break out of a decent volume spot, and then maybe you get a move to like 709 today. I don't know. That would be pretty wild. Tesla. Yeah, I'm not getting to all these today. There's a quite a large amount, unfortunately. Fortunately and unfortunately. We got Tesla. That one is watch support somewhere around 926. If it gets there, that would be interesting. Otherwise, still inside day. Resistance on this one takes us right back to the zone we've been watching for a while. 394, or essentially 395. But other than that, that is the morning bell. Everybody on YouTube land, you guys are absolutely incredible. But a wild amount of tickers that came in today. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys all tomorrow for the PPI.